So somebody's finally interested in joining your worship team. That's amazing. That's what we all hope for. But as you know, it's not just as easy as saying, hey, come lead with me on Sunday. No, there's a process that we should be putting people through. Number one, because it's going to allow them to join the team. If we don't have a process at all, then people aren't going to understand what the steps are that they need to take to actually lead with us. But number two, a process will help us weed out anybody that shouldn't be on our worship team for various reasons. So I recently had a conversation with my friend Jimmy Cooper from the Hey Worship Leader YouTube channel about this exact topic, and I asked him how he assimilates people onto his worship team. What is his worship team interview and audition process? And this is what he had to say. If somebody wanted to join your worship team, what would that process look like?
Yeah, so I think the plan A would be if they're new, because if they're not new, hopefully I already know about them and they've already auditioned. But let's just say they're new, they're visiting, or they're becoming a member. There's like a members class. There's a whole assimilation, but in that process, they will be encouraged to serve or choose a place to serve, and they have like a sheet of different areas to serve and they can circle. So if they circle production or worship at all, it comes to our team, and then it's my job to follow up. So if they are then interested, I'm like, hey, the first step is to fill out this audition form. And it's a very thorough letting me know who they are. They write out their testimony, and then it's several. And I got this from another church I was at and adapted it for our context, but several paragraphs of expectations and like code of conduct and all that stuff. And they sign it kind of like a contract saying that they've read it and they understand what it takes to be on team. And it gets real practical, like saying, if you're a drummer, bring your sticks. If you're an electric guitar player, make sure everything's in tune and cables working and amp tubes are up to date, and, just practical stuff, as well as like conduct and kind of vision for leading worship both on and off the stage, and all that stuff is in there. So once they've filled that out, then I schedule an audition. And I don't hold like audition days. It's an as needed basis, because I might get 1 this month and 3 next month or something. So I just take them as needed. My audition process, I don't know if you asked, but I'll just run through it real quick. It's the kind of the same thing where I immediately tell them they're going to be playing to Ableton tracks, because we use Ableton. And so they'll sing and I'll just mute their part, with whether it's singing or playing drums or bass or whatever. And sometimes I will join them, especially if it's a female vocal and I want them to practice harmonizing to me, and I want them to sing with me singing harmony. I may get up there with an acoustic and play with them. I usually have a wireless pack so I can still walk around and see how they're leading, but make sure they're on the click. And I think through all that stuff. And then I say, good job, let's go talk about it. And then we talk, and I have them verbalize their testimony, even though they already wrote it out. I like to hear how they verbalize their testimony, ask them why they want to be on the team, all the important things. Make sure I'm kind of assessing them, and then allowing them to assess me. I open it up. Do you have any questions for me? Like, and sometimes people do. And then I talk about Planning Center, and I'll say good, or I never say no. I always say, here are some things to work on. I don't feel comfortable in this position yet, but if you will work on these things, come back in 6 months, let's do it again. I want to work with you. And then either they'll be like pumped about that, or they'll be not wanting to do it anymore. It kind of sorts itself out when you work it out that way.
Yeah, I just put together some training on like the worship team process of how to get people on your worship team. And I think you pretty much follow the system that I laid out, but it just reminded me that if you have the proper steps in place beforehand, then you rarely have to say no, because either, most of the time people just self-select. Like, if they look at your list of your code of conduct and see I don't live up to that, then not many people are going to be like, yeah, I'm going to lie and like try to weasel my way into the team. They'll just be like, that this doesn't describe me, so I can't be on the team. And then, of course, you always want to say not yet instead of no, and give them things to work on. And then, yeah, if they're willing to work on those things, then they're probably going to be teachable and a good fit for your team eventually. So as you can see, it's not as easy as just saying, hey, come join me on a Sunday morning. There's a process that we can put people through who want to join our worship team that onboards them in the proper way. And I love the system that Jimmy has set up. It actually mimics the one that I have set up for my team, and I want to share my system now with you. And so down in the description below, I've linked a worship team toolkit where I will share with you everything that you need to get somebody to join your worship team. I'm going to share with you the application form and sort of an audition idea that you can use to get people onto your worship team. I also share my code of conduct document that I give to all of my new team members. So if you're interested in getting that, it's like a copy and paste template for your own worship ministry. Check that out in the description below. And until I see you in the next video, keep leading worship well.